No one can keep you from living as your nature requires. Nothing can happen to you that is not required by nature. If I were to ask, what if you die tomorrow? Will it be considered as a horrible event or a glorious event? Most people will agree it's horrible, of course. However, the philosophy of Marcus Aurelius states that everything happens as nature requires. Nothing will ever happen that is not required by nature. Meaning that circumstances do not occur randomly, but everything happens for a reason. Most people often retrospect upon their childhood and say, "Oh man, I was so stupid as a kid. Why did I do that?" But looking at it from a Stoic standpoint, if you didn't err in your childhood, you wouldn't be smart today. Your boyishness was a stage gifted by nature, by life, to further your growth. Another example is people who despise their old self. Now that they became positive, they think back and say, "I regret being negative and angry in the past." But for a Stoic, if you were not an angry person in the past, you wouldn't have had the chance to notice your problem today and fix it. If you weren't pessimistic in the past, you wouldn't have had anything to fix in the first place. Another one is people who regret having bad relationships. But similarly, if you didn't fail in that relationship, you wouldn't have learned the lessons to improve your next relationship. Marcus Aurelius basically states that everything happens for your own good. Whatever step you take in life, even if you do the wrong thing, it doesn't matter. Nature required you to make mistakes at that point in your life so you can learn from them and grow. This cycle of erring and fixing yourself will go on till the day you die. Thus, nothing is considered as a mistake. If you hold good intentions, then whatever good or bad thing happens in your life, it's all good. Problems, mistakes, and obstacles are gifts from life to help you grow. Nothing happens against you. Everything occurs to help you. Nature, or say life, doesn't give you solutions right away. It gives you obstacles, otherwise you wouldn't have the privilege to learn from your mistakes. Every time something bad happens, look for the underlying lesson. What I want you to remember from this explanation is two things. First big idea, your mistakes are not considered so because if you don't make any mistakes, you wouldn't grow. This means you are free to make mistakes as much as you want. Second big idea is that nature doesn't give you lessons directly, but indirectly by giving you obstacles and problems. If you have a problem, life doesn't show you what to do about it. Life awaits you to find the solution on your own, otherwise you wouldn't gain any experience. The circumstances you perceive as unlucky are actually lessons bestowed from life, disguised in a form of obstacle. Conclusion, you are free to make mistakes as long as you hold good intentions. And the second one, nothing happens against you, everything happens for your own good. Observe always that everything is a result of change and get used to thinking that there is nothing nature loves so well as to change existing forms and to make new ones like them. I remember back in the day, my girlfriend's dog met his death. She got into this depression. Every time she'd see dogs running around on the street, she would get angry, cancel our meeting, and get back home crying. And when I read Meditations, there was an insight that got me thinking about this story. Marcus stresses the importance to align oneself with the course of nature, which is mainly based upon change. If there's no change, it's as though someone has pushed the pause button for life. Everything around you would stop functioning. So my girlfriend couldn't get over the death of her dog because she was in disharmony with nature, with change. It's as if through that tragic event, life was trying to push her back in harmony with nature. So it's vital to question yourself whether or not you easily get attached to emotions, objects, people. If you're unwilling to anticipate the loss of something, this creates misalignment between you and nature, which is intrinsically based upon change. Most people think a breakup is a terrible thing to happen, but from a Stoic perspective, these events occur as if life is trying to remind you how fleeting it is. Latch on to nothing, embrace everything. Perhaps you forgot that every element around you will sooner or later come to an end, including yourself. A single breath you take is priceless, so ensure to make the best out of it. Life's experiences are transient. You're happy now, but not thereafter. You're sad today, but not forever. So by aligning yourself with change, you are shielded from the phobia of death, the dread of loss, and the fears of life overall. Everything we hear is an opinion, not a fact. Everything we see is a perspective, not the truth. I remember a friend of mine who had this crazy social phobia. Every time she's confronted with a social situation, she would start sweating, freak out, and excuse herself to go somewhere else. In my entire life, I've never had any phobias and was interested in knowing more about the topic. So I questioned if she could describe her feelings the moment her anxiety kicked in. She said, in every social interaction, her mind says, if you don't say something cool, you'll be judged as a nerd. Then her heart rate spikes up and she starts thinking, my heart is pounding, this is fear, this is bad, I better run away fast. Fortunately, her answer was exactly what I wanted to hear. Her problem wasn't socializing, but in how she misuses words to judge herself. This concept is a bit tricky, so I'd like you to focus here for a second. Let's see. The word fear, for most people, is labeled as a bad emotion. Now, what does bad mean? If you open up the dictionary, bad means unpleasant, full of problems. But wait a second, who created the dictionary? Humans, of course. Why did they do that? To ease communication and make sense out of life. Okay, cool. If that's the purpose behind inventing words, then why use words to label our feelings as good or bad? We, humans, made a silly act by attaching a word to an emotion. Fear is bad, happiness is good. When confronted with pressure, we don't say, oh, this is pressure. We say, this is fear. The emotion is not that terrifying. The words we use to judge it are more terrorizing than the emotion itself. But hang on. What if we dissociate the word from the feeling? Guess what remains? Only the emotion. The big idea here is to stop using words to label your feelings and see through them their true nature. What's the true nature behind words? Words are just syllables interwoven together created to make sense of our surroundings. The problem lies in using words in mindless self-destruction. Remember, your emotions are not words. The second you dissociate and untangle words from feelings, fear, joy, pain, happiness, all emotions become the same. Who said that the word fear is bad? The dictionary. Who said that the word happiness is good? The dictionary. And who invented this dictionary thing? Humans. Make it a habit to feel any emotion without naming it. Feel it as nature gave it to you without a meaning. Hence, see life behind the curtain of words and further enrich your experience of it. Thanks for watching.